Magic in the Morning, Selena Gomez brings us to 8:36, and we're about 15 minutes away from our Hometown Minute with Beans Homes, and Mike Barrett is in the studio once again, and he is every week at this time with good policies with Barrett Insurance. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Talk about welcome rain, huh?
I love it. Over an inch and a half in my house yesterday.
Nice.
I'm stoked about that and a little soaked about that. One funny joke.
Yes, but last week I said to you, stay dry. You say, no, I'd rather stay soaked because it was bone dry.
Exactly. No, we need it. I'm glad it's here. We need more. I'll take it. It was great. It was great. You know, I felt so bad. We were at the Waterford Fire Department's 40th anniversary celebration on Saturday. You know, and what are the optics going to look like for a fire department to have a bonfire and shoot off fireworks during a statewide burn ban? So they had to call those parts of the festivities off. But you know what? The rest of it was fantastic. So.
I bet it was a big community picture.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a killer question for you this week. I mean, it's all over the news and it's all over everybody's life being impacted by it. This government shutdown, and I'm not the brightest man in the world, but is this shutdown has it affected the insurance market? Is that a good question?
That's a great question. And yes, it has specifically impacted two major insurance products in the country. The first one being the federal crop insurance program. So during a federal shutdown, the Risk Management Agency, which runs the federal crop insurance program, they don't completely shut it down due to mandatory funding, but they operate on a very limited essential capacity focused on processing approved insurance providers and doing the high-end, high-level necessary operations. So that's not ideal, but at least they're still going.
All right, so that's crop protection, and that is, in my mind, affected two ways: drought and flood, and we have had drought.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting product. I don't dabble with crop myself, but it is a necessary tool for sustainability of a lot of farmers in the country. So it's a great thing to have, and it's administered by the federal government, which means it's impacted. Now, the one that's much more impacted by the federal government shutdown is the National Flood Insurance Program. And we've brought this up over the years. The National Flood Insurance Program, it's managed by the Department of Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency. So it's FEMA that runs it. They last extended it in March, and it expired at midnight on October 1st when the government shut down. So they still have the authority to ensure payment of valid claims, which is a good thing, right? So if you have the National Flood Insurance Program and you have a flood loss that's covered, you will see payment. Here's where it gets a little trickier, and we're starting to see this more, which is what made me think, man, I've really forgot about to talk about the elephant in the room. We've been getting phone calls at our office because here's the kicker. No new policies are available through the National Flood Insurance Program during a government shutdown. And in addition, renewal of policies, it's allowed if the application was received prior to September 30th. So some people could see their renewals not take place. And usually FEMA will send out a memo to policyholders. I have not yet heard or seen of one. But that can be really problematic especially if you're required by your mortgagee to carry flood insurance. And that's where the private flood insurance market, which we work with as well as FEMA, is really coming in to help right now.
You know, these are two important subjects because I can't remember a year where we had both the effects of flooding and drought. Can you?
No. This is the extremes of both. And, you know, it's a scary proposition to think. I mean, you know, with the drought, a lot of those riverbeds and brooks and streams that took out roads and entire neighborhoods are down to, if a trickle, that's it. Looking bone dry, essentially, beneath the rock bed. So to know that those things were wreaking havoc earlier this year was crazy. So we're happy that the rain is upon us, but you know it's a very interesting time where you know you have the extremes of both in one season. So
you mentioned the requirement of somebody needing to have flood insurance on a mortgage. Would you assume, or let's do this. Would you encourage those individuals to reach out to their lender, or two, would you assume that maybe the lender would consider the fact that maybe they had it prior, or?
There's so many things, and I don't want to answer necessarily on behalf of the lenders, but I can tell you that historically speaking, you know, if an expiration is there and a policy has not been renewed, the lender will see that. Maybe not ahead of the date, maybe not at the date, but certainly within a few weeks after that end date, and they'll have something to say about it. They can force place, but I don't know how the federal shutdown can impact any force placed insurance requirements with the lenders. So that's a whole different ball of wax as well. So what it really comes down to is if you're in the process of purchasing a property and you need flood insurance right now, you're not going to get it. And if your renewal's coming up during this closure, which I hope is going to have an end in sight, I don't see one now, but I'm sure it can't be too far away. Just think that you may have to pivot to keep flood insurance and go to a private market carrier, at least for a little while.
All right. So, as always with any of our conversations, we always say it's important to have that conversation. So, if you are required by your lender, reach out to them. That's your best advice, right?
Yeah. And honestly, even if you're not required and you have it, good for you, by the way, because most people only have flood insurance if they're told to. That's when they're in a special flood hazard area. Can't talk. SFHA is the acronym. High risk flood zones. But you can get it outside of that too. So if you have flood insurance and you are worried about A, not being able to obtain new flood insurance, or B, not getting a renewal, check the marketplace. There are private carriers that will help you, including many that we offer.
All right, let's go back to that other important conversation, the one that folks can have with you.
Yeah, give us a call, 748-5224. You can find our office on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency. I've gotten so good at rattling that off in most cases. So.
Well, we've been doing this for years, and we'll wrap it up with this. By the way, folks, good policies every Tuesday, but we've been reading in the news here about the Northeast Kingdom Cancer Action Network. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. It's an absolute thrill and an honor. I'm one of the founding members. I've been the president of the organization since its inception. They keep putting me in. I don't think it's because I'm qualified. I think it's just that they don't want to do it. No, I'm kidding. But we've had an absolute blast. We work so well as a team. And to know that we have funneled over $220,000 right into the Northeast Kingdom, into the pockets of those who are battling cancer, our friends and our neighbors, it's something that we hold near and dear, and we will continue to do for as long as we can.
Well, we'll continue carrying that story coming up in our 9 o'clock report, but more than $220,000 in what, 5 short years?
Yeah. I think four or five. Yeah. It's just been amazing. And, last month alone, Jeff, we cut 44 checks to grant recipients. So we're averaging between 34 and 50 a month that we're cutting checks to. So it's definitely a need, and we're glad to be addressing it.
Well, and that's what we do here in the Kingdom. We'll see you next week with another edition.
You got it.
All right. Your Hometown Minute from Beans Homes, we told you, is coming up. And up next, music from Kool and the Gang on Magic